Welcome to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, and it's good to be back. This show brought to you by Gasspouts.com. Gasspouts.com, if you want true American-made gas spouts, you're sick of those Chinese, China Mart gas spouts that never work when you want them to. You want to go to Gasspouts.com and replace them with some full American-made gas spouts. You can use our coupon code that's AAH20OFF, AAH20OFF for 20% off discount for your gas spouts over at Gasspouts.com. Really happy having them as a sponsor. We'll talk about them in a minute. And we want to give a plug and a shout out to the homesteadnetwork.com for some great homesteading channels. You can go over to the homesteadnetwork.com and find all kinds of other amazing homestead channels on YouTube that you can check them out, subscribe to their channel, see what they're doing. They're part of this network. We are the Late Late Show on the Homestead Network, preceded always by the Deep South Homestead over there in southern Mississippi. So always listen to their show before we get on. But yeah, check out the homesteadnetwork.com for some other great channels. And we're always here Saturday night, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. And, our sponsor, again, Gasspouts.com. So they contacted us a while back, and we're going to be doing another video probably this week with Gasspouts.com. We basically purchased, they didn't send us, we purchased all of the gas spouts we want to use and are going to outfit all of our gas cans on the homestead, which is, a good number of them, with these gas spouts because they actually free flow. They have fire retardant systems in place on them so that, I guess they're flame resistors type stuff, the screens inside them. So they're safe and they're American made and they're not those silly, Walmart gas spouts that you find in China Mart that hardly ever work. Only a little bit of gas comes out. They're so frustrating. And Gasspouts.com makes an American-made version that works great. And so we'll do another video of that this week, and we're going to do some giveaways this week as well. So stay tuned for that. Very exciting, but really appreciate them having them as a sponsor. And, let's see. What else is going on this week? Is there anything else I usually do? It seems like I cover more things when I open the show. Jamie's with me as always. No decaf coffee tonight. We had a cup of coffee. We had some friends over this evening, or today, and they left a little while ago, and they brought us some coffee. It was a pecan-flavored coffee.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I'm going to have some in the morning. I only just had a sip of it.
I had a cup, and so I'm jazzed. I'm wired.
Yeah, I know.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I don't let myself do that, or I won't sleep.
I'll go to sleep.
I know.
You have a glass of wine after the show, and then you're on the way. You're on the way down. You got your uppers and your downers.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, what did we do this week?
I made lots of salsa for you.
Yeah, so fresh salsa from the garden. So you want to tell people about your rule in case they don't know?
Well, my rule. I don't know if other homesteads have this rule, but and I've never read about anyone else doing this, but it just made sense to me that when you're putting all the work into preserving your food in whatever form, that my rule is that you never eat that food when there is other food available. So I really do live by this. So for example, okay, so I'm just going to run down what we do. So when there's food in the cooler and it needs to be eaten, you don't eat the dried food. You don't eat preserved food. You eat the cooler food first because that's going to go bad first. When the garden is in season, you eat food from the garden. You don't pull something off the shelf to eat. When the garden is done, then that is time to dig into the prepared food. But again, you would eat the food in the cooler before you eat the prepared food. Sometimes maybe we'll get some cheese or yogurt or other things from town. We would have the yogurt for breakfast before I would make oatmeal. some other kind of breakfast that
I'll eat eggs.
Oh yeah. Well, we always have the eggs.
Right.
The eggs are open season.
Yeah.
There's no rule on eggs.
I eat eggs every day.
Yeah. Eggs anytime, anywhere. But yeah, does that make sense to everybody? It's just like,
yeah. So like when you have salsa, you have all this canned salsa inside, and I love having chips and salsa for lunch, or using salsa for lunch, and instead of grabbing that off the pantry shelf, this new salsa that she canned, you're not allowed to do that. If you want tomatoes or pico or whatever, or salsa, you go out in the garden, you chop up some tomatoes, you put some onion in there, and then you add some garlic and whatever else, and then you have your salsa,
Yeah.
and you use that instead of using something on the shelf.
if there's fresh food to eat, don't open. Although I will make an exception. I always can my own beans. So I soak my dry beans and then I will can them to make them readily available to use whenever I want. So I will make an exception for that, just because it's a convenience thing. I can can up a bunch at one time.
Right. And so, when the garden is finished, it's always a joy to go to the pantry and pick out a jar of either spicy or mild salsa, depending on who's eating it with you. If it's just me, it's going to be spicy. And, eating that. The first batch you made was pretty spicy, right?
Yeah.
Just because we have so many jalapenos coming in from the garden.
Lots and lots of jalapenos, so I had to limit my use
Is
of the sweet peppers.
Salsa that you made fresh this week that's in the cooler right now, is that spicy?
I didn't think it was.
Because the boys are eating it too, right?
The boys thought it was too spicy.
But we have so many jalapenos. Really, I have I brought in like a big bowl of giant jalapenos.
Yeah, and you said you only even picked.
It was like
some of
3
the
plants. There's 3 plants, and
There
there was
was a lot.
one plant that got damaged by a deer or whatever came through and ate the top off the plant. But yeah, it was just a few plants. And we have so many jalapenos out there right now, and so many other peppers. The sweet peppers they've been slow this year getting going. Last year, our sweet peppers did awesome. This year, they're a little slow. See, every year it's different. You're going to have successes and failures every year in the garden. Every year it's different. This year, I don't know. We've had a number of failures, but our squash seems to be doing really good, if we can figure out what kind of squash is growing. Our sweet potatoes did not do good this year. I got a video coming out this week on that. So we're a little concerned about that.
I love sweet potatoes.
But we got a few.
We got some.
But-
more than a few.
Yeah, but wasn't the best year
A few
ever.
would be like 3.
Yeah, more than a few. But it was it wasn't our best year ever. Put it that way. We've had better years. So anyway, what else we have going on this week? Go back to my notes here. Show notes. We pulled the sheep off the pastures because they're eating the grass down pretty low, and we have some rain coming up. We had some rain the other day. We got some rain again coming tomorrow. Looks like it's going to rain all day, and so I'm pulling the sheep off the pasture for a few days. Let some of the grass recover, and see how that works. We've got them on alfalfa pellets right now, but you gotta rotate your sheep good. It's just land management, and it's just part of owning livestock. So we pulled the sheep off, and we're going to see how that goes. Again, getting a good amount of rain. There's been no drought. I think the longest period of time so far this summer has been maybe 3 weeks with no rain. So it's been pretty good. And that's always a concern, because, man, the garden, and I have 1,000 gallons of rainwater catchment storage reserve, right, for my garden. 1,000 gallons. And I haven't had to dip into it hardly at all. So it's been pretty good. That's a good year. You don't get a lot of years like that. There's some years you do, but and the sugar cane that we have growing, the quarter acre's worth, it's doing really good because of the rain. It hasn't had sugar cane and sorghum will shut down when it goes through a drought. It's very drought resistant, and then when it gets rain, it'll just start back up and grow again. But it hasn't had to do that all summer long because we've been getting rain every week or 2 weeks or so. Like I said, the longest period we've had so far is like 3 weeks, so it's been good. Let's see what else. We're getting a good amount of corn. I think we're gonna have to. I don't know if we're gonna be able to eat all the corn we have.
Really?
We've got a lot more corn out there we need to pick and eat this week, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to can. If you're gonna want to can it, we don't really like canned corn, do we?
I like canned corn fine. You don't.
I don't. I like fresh corn. I like eating fresh off of the stalk corn. I even like eating it raw.
I know. And
I just don't like
think
canned
that
corn.
I think that what anybody who is learning to can, I kind of learned this the hard way. I just canned everything in the beginning. Whatever I could can, I would. And then I learned that, Zach doesn't really like a lot of canned foods.
I like raw, fresh foods.
So for me,
Raw veggies.
yeah. But we can't always have raw veggies in season.
Yeah.
So for me, I've learned that for him to not even bother. Some of the things I won't even bother to can just because I know he won't enjoy eating them.
And then we're getting lots of raspberries. So we have a variety that was given to us by Travis Huey over at myaquafarm.com. And he gave us a variety of raspberries that grows all summer long. Because the wild raspberries only grow like for a week or so in the early spring.
No, longer than a week.
Well, a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. They don't last long out there.
The blackberries last longer than the raspberries.
Well,
then.
they have about a 2 week run.
I
2 week
think it's
run.
A little longer. Than
Maybe
that.
a little. It depends. This year it wasn't. I don't think very long. I mean, you ask your dad; he was the one picking them mostly this year. But we have this variety of raspberries, and they grow until the fall. You'll be picking raspberries off this plant until the fall. I'm picking them now. There's a whole bunch out there, and they're coming in, and they'll just be continually making more raspberries until the fall. It's a great variety of raspberry plant. I wish I would have thought, if I had known this, I would have planted it in a different spot. I may dig it up, I don't know, and put it somewhere else in a better spot. But it's a great variety of raspberry, and it grows all summer, and so we're loving this. I need to ask Travis what kind of raspberry it is so I can get back to you guys. And if you want it, you can look it up and see for yourself, maybe about getting that plant variety. But Jamie's looking at tents online the last few days because every fall we have a big camping shindig, and we have a lot of people here at our homestead who come. This year it's going to be about, around 100 people, and it's already filled up, and, we don't charge any money for that. The people come for free, and it's already filled up. So we're looking at replacing a tent. We've been using the same tent for like 3 years.
No, more. No, more.
3 years? More?
No, 4.
Okay.
Plus.
All right.
Maybe. Well, we've talked about replacing it every year, but this year we've decided to go for it. And we're going to try to get a more quality tent. I don't know. Tents are kind of like cars, I guess. You can...
I don't know where we bought this, at the Sports Authority or some kind of sporting goods store.
I think it was Sport Authority, but...
I think they've gone out of business now even, so...
Yeah.
But...
There's the really low quality tents that are meant to be used for a weekend and packed up, and maybe the family didn't have a good time, so they're not going to get out again.
Right.
And then, there's the Cadillac of tents. So we're trying to. And
then there's custom made tents.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of tents, but
I'm keeping my options open. I'm a big researcher in what I purchase. So.
I think if you're gonna compare it to cars, I think we had like a Chevy or a Ford, maybe. Maybe. Type tent, and now we're looking at upgrading to more like a.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a Walmart tent or.
No.
Even if you like your Coleman, I'm sorry, but I think Coleman makes really poor products. A lot of their products.
So what did we have? Who made it? It was a
Sport Authority. I'm pretty sure it was their brand, Sport Authority.
Okay. Anyway, it wasn't an upper end car. It wasn't an upper end tent by any means, but it was an okay tent. But now we're looking at doing more like the Cadillac, or Acura.
We're considering a canvas tent, but the thing that makes me wonder about a canvas tent is that they are really heavy. And they take a fair amount of room to store, from what I understand. So those things, I'm not 100%. I'm still researching. Yeah. I don't make these kind of decisions lightly.
We have seen some tents. There's been people who've come out to our home, and they're driving, the Lamborghini of tents, or the Ferrari of tents. These are the really nice canvas that come with platforms and I
They
mean,
don't come with platforms, but I thought people had made them.
they made them to go with them. I mean, they're kind of it's like the glamping. You know, when you get to that point, you're tenting in, you know, the Lamborghini.
But we camp for a week and a half, so
It pays to get a good one.
it pays to get, well, yeah, but also there are some things that are important to me, like, well, a given, you have to be able to stand up inside it. For a week and a half, for a family,
Right.
you got to stand up inside
It's got to
it.
be a good amount of room.
Number 2, it's got to be waterproof. If it's not waterproof, no. You will be hating life. I will
Right.
be hating life. You will be hating life because I am hating life.
Yeah, the way to stay happy when you go camping is to keep Mama happy.
Yeah.
You're happy if Mama's happy.
Yeah. So, anyway, Zach knows that. Anyway, I don't know what we'll decide, but we're looking at Cabela's. But Cabela's makes some good tents.
Yeah, they have some really good tents. There was one on there that was the highest rated. Wasn't that the campus one?
No, their highest rated tent is actually the one my parents have, which is the Alaskan Guide.
Oh, yeah, but we decided that was too small. But what was the other one we saw that was kind of like a square thing that had like canvas, but it was still a breathable canvas. It had like 300 reviews, and they were like almost all 5-star.
I don't remember what it's called now.
Either way, they've got some really good ones on there that look nice. That we'll let you know what we pick. But I think we're gonna do an upgrade of a tent this year, and you know they do cost a little bit of money, but man, it's so worth it, and it'll last for years. We took a Sports Authority tent, and we've made it last for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just an irregular thing for us. We do it.
Yeah,
We
Peoria
camp.
dude says Eureka tents were considered top of the line back in the '80s when I was in Boy Scouts. Eureka tents now are like the Yugo of tents. It's like I don't know what's a crappy car.
I've never even heard of Eureka tents.
Yeah, they're the ones at Walmart, I think, and you know they're the ones that Anyway, so check this out. Let's get into some of our topics, and I want to get into why you'll never see us on TV. Why you will never see an American Homestead on TV. But before I get into that, let us go ahead and get into Demolition Ranch. So I would hope that a lot of you guys are subscribed to Demolition Ranch. I think he has like 3.5 million subscribers. And you'll notice most of his videos are not monetized anymore because YouTube has taken away most of his monetization on that channel. He has other channels now because, you know, he realizes he can't make any money on Demolition Ranch with 3.5 million subscribers. And he has a friend of his, who is a fisherman, and his name is Justin. He put out his last video. It was a video at the beginning talking about helping Justin. Justin was getting headaches, and he didn't know why, and he went in to go to the doctor, and they found a gigantic tumor behind one of his eyes. And Justin is, I think he's got his own page that's kind of popular when it comes to fishing. It's got like 200,000 followers or something like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, Demolition Ranch wanted to put the word out, and they're selling T-shirts to help.
Whoa!
Sorry, I just knocked my phone off the table. They're selling T-shirts to help raise money for, Justin. They found a tumor. He went to his insurance, and the insurance said, "Sorry, can't help you," and they're not going to be able to help him with his medical bills. I mean, he has a tumor. They won't even help him just to even go start the process of the testing and the procedures he needs to determine what the course of action is. I don't know what kind of insurance he had, but we've talked about insurance. We're not going to make this show about insurance, but folks, you don't have insurance in America. If you think you have insurance, just go try to use it and see what happens. He had insurance. He went to go see if his insurance, and his insurance said, "Sorry, we can't. This isn't covered. We can't help you." You don't have insurance anymore, guys. And so anyway, they started a website. It's called Make Every Cast Count. Make Every Cast Count. Link is in the description below. And just before the show tonight, I ordered a shirt. It was a T-shirt. It's a really cool shirt. I like it. I'm going to show Jamie real quick. See? It's got a fish on it, and it says Make Every Cast Count. And it's a shirt for Justin. And they're selling these for $25 a piece. And I like shirts, and Jamie knows I like T-shirts, and I go through T-shirts on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's a neat shirt. Mm-hmm. And so...
It's got some good graphics.
Yeah, it's got some really nice graphics. Whoever did it did a really good job on it. So if you're interested, I want to throw that out there. They're trying to sell about 12,000 shirts to help raise money for Justin and his tumor, and I just ordered a shirt before the show tonight. If you're interested, it's Make Every Cast Count, like casting as in fishing, right? So makeeverycastcount.com. Check that out. And if you order a shirt, send a message over to Make Every Cast Count at the checkout and let them know that you heard about it on American Homestead. I know we're not near as big as Demolition Ranch, but, you know, let them know that you did hear about it from us. I heard about it from Demo Ranch. I sent them an email letting them know that I was going to be talking about it tonight on the podcast. But I cannot believe that... Folks, that's just when I was in the military, I read a book, and I mentioned this before too. I read a book by P.J. O'Rourke called All the Trouble in the World. And he made the point in the book that if you think healthcare is expensive now, wait till it's free. Wait till it's free. Well, healthcare today, they say, is supposed to be free in our world today, and it's never been more expensive or hard to get. You do not have healthcare in America today. If you think you do, go ahead and try to use it. You'll see just how mad it will make you when you try to use your healthcare and how our healthcare system works. So, you don't have it. So I want to move using that as a platform to jump off into. I want to go into our next story today because you'll see how this all kind of ties in together. The delusion of the self-reliant off-grid living. So there was an article that was written this week in Forbes magazine online. So it's Forbes.com. And it was written by a guy named Adam, I can't pronounce his last name, but the link is in the description below. Again, all the news articles that we talk about always are linked in the description below. You can follow along. But it's called The Delusion of the Self-Reliant Off-Grid Living. Okay, so he's basically calling people who are living off-grid deluded. And Adam Ozimek is the contributor, the writer of this article. And it starts off by saying, I am a big fan of shows about doomsday preppers, homesteaders, survivalists, generally people who live off the grid. Some of my favorites are Homestead Rescue and Live Free or Die, but there's a central delusion in these shows that is never far from my mind when I'm watching these shows. Off-the-grid people are not self-reliant, but instead are mooching off of the civil society, government, and safety net the rest of us contribute to.
What?
Yeah, I know. This was a very painful... Most of you guys maybe read this week. It was spread around Facebook pretty far and wide, and it made the rounds on most of the Homestead groups online, on the internet today. So this was passed around. So he's saying that homesteaders are mooching off of civil society, government, and the safety net that the rest of society contributes to.
Okay, so is that just his opening? He's going to expand on that thought later to tell us why in the world he would say that?
And I don't know if I want to read the whole article, but he's basically saying, we're all, you're not contributing to anything like roads and military and healthcare and all this stuff. It's just ridiculous. And I'm hoping that most of you guys have read this. So let me read a little bit more. It says, the people in these shows often describe a very romantic vision of the lives they have chosen, the ethos underlying it. They describe themselves as fully self-reliant and criticize the rest of society as being dependent and lacking in the self-reliance. It is morally superior, the story goes, to provide for yourself, take care of your own needs, and often be prepared to survive if society collapses. A stated or assumed claim is that specialization and gains from trade are failing rather than an integral part of prosperity. It's true that these individuals don't appear to value any goods and services beyond relatively basic subsistence.
Yeah.
Sorry. But that's ridiculous too. I mean, I use a chainsaw. I drive a truck. I use gas for my truck. It continues.
Why are you putting us through this?
But most of the off-grid households do benefit to some extent from cheap second-hand tools, guns. Wait, cheap second-hand guns? My guns aren't cheap second-hand. I have good guns. My guns are good guns. I have good tools.
You're getting yourself riled up over that.
I mean, my SIG 5.56 patrol rifle, that's a $1,200 rifle. It's not cheap. cheap clothes, or inputs to basic home production that specialization gains from trade and the modern economy make easily affordable.
I just think it's only smart to buy clothes at Goodwill. You get some good stuff at Goodwill.
Yeah, you find very expensive clothes.
You're going to get me riled up in a minute.
Well, this made a lot of people angry. It made a lot of people angry.
Well, is that what he was trying to do?
I don't know.
I mean, you got a lot of press over it, I guess.
So he goes on to talk about the Colbert guy from the Live Free or Die. He says he does some trapping and trades the furs or money that he uses to buy supplies, and on the self-reliance scale ranks pretty highly. But I always wonder what will happen if he slips and falls and can no longer provide for himself. He'll likely end up receiving hospital treatment paid for with Medicare, and perhaps end up living in an assisted living center paid for by Medicare, meaning the taxpayers, as well. In fairness to Colbert, he lived for a long life in a regular, high-paying financial job. So, while the risk of his no-savings lifestyle may be borne by society, meaning paid for by you and me, he has paid into the system substantially. The same cannot be said of many other homesteaders.
What? Okay.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. I mean, do you think just because all these homesteaders are homesteaders, they don't pay taxes?
I guess
we pay taxes.
I guess that's what he thinks.
I don't know. In fact, I don't know of any homesteader. Well, wait a minute. There was a homesteader in Chile that was commenting on the Deep South Homestead show tonight, and he said he doesn't pay taxes in Chile. But that's Chile, the country of Chile. Here in America, I mean, you pay your taxes. You know, nobody wants to get a visit from the IRS.
Well, I also object to his fully self-reliant. Self-reliant. Okay, go out and live in the woods under a rock, and still you can't be fully self-reliant.
Even the pioneers were not fully self-reliant. They still traded for flour, for sugar, for salt, for all kinds of things. I mean,
a man may be able to go out and live in the woods by himself. I'm thinking of Daniel Boone. But still, what did Daniel Boone need? Daniel Boone needed his brother to get back to Kentucky so that he could bring more ammo. Yeah. Even Daniel Boone was not fully self-reliant.
None of these pioneers were fully self-reliant. But let's continue. He says, when I watch them, I wonder what would happen if one became extremely sick and simple off-the-grid homestead medicine couldn't treat them. So it's like, what happens if somebody gets sick and your alternative essential oils and all your other things that you use, you know, colloidal silver or whatever you use, doesn't make you better again? You know, what are you going to do? Off-the-grid home medicine couldn't treat them. What would they say? We've chosen our fate and now we die by it? Or would they seek treatment in a hospital they couldn't afford, which would be covered by the hospital's charity care or perhaps Medicaid? Now, do you see where I'm going of how I started off the show? Here's a guy, Justin, who had insurance. He was paying into the system. He had purchased a product that thought that if he ever got sick would save his life. And now the insurance has told him, hit the road, Jack. Don't come back. No more, no more. And this guy, Adam, over at Forbes.com, which is a financial, media, outlet, is talking about people who live off grid. What are they going to do? They're just going to drown the system in Medicaid and Medicare and burden the taxpayers. My point is, what's the point? It doesn't matter. Folks, if you're paying into the system, is no guarantee that the system is going to save you if you need the system. That's my point. I mean, tell me how I'm off here. Because we just heard about Justin, who had Medicare, who had health insurance, and the health insurance says, sorry, I can't help you. And now this guy's saying, well, these homesteaders, they're just a burden on Medicare. It doesn't matter, folks. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you guys that there is no, here's the deal. If I get sick, if I had a tumor, and what are my chances? I'm not going to do, I've seen people who've gone through chemo, and it's horrible. It ends horribly about 90% of the time. You know people too. And you may know people who've been saved by chemo and some of these treatments, but I'm telling, the way I've seen it, most of these people die horrible deaths. I'm not doing it. If that's my time, that's my time. And that's life. With life comes death. And I think some of these people, what they're doing is trying to live forever by paying into a system, and the system has become their god. I don't want to get religious on anybody, but the system has become their god. And some of these people who are paying into the system are finding out their God's not coming to save them. And it's sad. It's sad. It's sad when you find out that your God, really isn't all that, what you thought he was going to be. That's what the system has become today. Anyway, people are really angry about this article that came out. There's lots of comments on the article. You can go check it out at Forbes.com. Link in the description below. Read it for yourself. Read the comments and for yourself, and leave a comment if you want to. In fact, he posted on Twitter. I checked out his Twitter account later this week, and he posted, after he released the article, it was like a day later, he posted on Twitter, "Wow, the homesteaders are angry." That was all he posted. Well, yeah, they're angry. Once somebody made the point, because this guy is getting all of his information, his entire worldview surrounding homesteaders comes from TV.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
That's what he's doing. He's basically developing an opinion based on what he sees on TV.
Well, he's also talking in complete generalizations.
Yeah, and broad brush.
Broad sweeps of even just wrong information.
I left a comment. If you want to read my comment, I left a comment. I think it was a well thought out comment on the article. It's on page 3 of the comments over at the article if you want to read it. But my point is, these guys are saying, he's saying what you see on TV. And that brings me to my second point that we're going to roll into tonight. Why you're never going to see an American homestead on TV. So there's been a number of networks who have come to us I would say 3 networks who have come to us over the last few years we've been on this homestead. They've all been big networks. You would recognize the name if I told you. And they have asked us to consider being on television. And the first one that came to us, we had a signed, inked deal. It was done. Okay, had a contract, and it was done. It was a signed deal. And about 2 weeks before filming was to start, when they were going to come out to where we were, they asked me to shave my beard, if I would shave my beard. And I said no. I'm not shaving my beard. It's not happening. And they wanted to know, why is it a religious thing? Is it this or that? They were basically they were looking for stuff, I think, to not do the show. I don't know if that was the case, but we had a deal, inked deal, and they backed out because the deal says they can back out whenever they want. 2 weeks into filming, and then it pushed, and so the release of the show that is now on TV, and it was going to star me in the show. It was going to star me in the show. I would be the main character in the show for every episode. So it wasn't just coming out for one episode to see an American Homestead. No, this was going to be us every show. And they basically canceled it because supposedly they said the beards were over. That was all. That was too Duck Dynasty. They didn't want to do that anymore. And so they basically canceled the show, and it took them another 6 months before they found somebody new. It ended up being a family that they had worked with previously on a different show on the same network, and they were the ones who took over and starred in that show. So that's the story. I've never told that story before, but that was the first time. Now, when they first came to us, fortunately, or we were blessed, I should say, we were blessed to have a friend who knew somebody who was an agent, and we contacted, and that woman became our agent, and she worked out the deal, and she took a look at the initial contract, and she said, "Whoa, back off. This is so wrong. They basically want to take over your entire name and brand." Okay? And so she negotiated the deal. She negotiated a better deal financially, a little bit better deal financially, but she also protected our interest and our brand that we had built, in American Homestead, the logo, the branding, everything, because they wanted it. They wanted it all, folks. They were going to take everything. They were going to basically make it property of the network, as well as my face, and everything else. And so she saved us from all of that. And so every time this has happened, she renegotiated that deal, and it fell through because they didn't want me. They wanted me to shave my beard. There's been 2 other networks who have come to us, and right away, every single time I get it, I send them to I say, listen, I don't even want to talk to you. Talk to my agent, because the second one came through, and they wanted to talk, and it sounded pretty good. We did a phone interview, and we did Skype for the whole family and everything again, and they were very interested. And I said, great, if you're interested, talk to my agent. And they sent me a contract. It was like an option contract that you would send to a baseball player or a sports person or whatever, an options contract. And they basically wanted to do the same thing. Take everything. Take the branding and prevent me from signing from anybody else. I wanted to do, and it was crazy. And my agent was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they sent this," because I don't speak legalese, and I'm a betting man, and I'm not a betting man, but if I was a betting man, I'm guessing that none of you are either. You don't speak legalese. You're not a bunch of lawyers listening to this show. And so if someone sends you a contract, they're going to bet that you're just going to be starstruck and think you're going to be on TV. And you're not going to read the fine print. And you're not going to understand what you're reading anyway, because it's all a bunch of lawyer speak that they know you don't understand. And that's exactly what was the case with this. And so, they were trying to take us for a ride in a way that was just not going to be good. And so the agent took over, and the deal didn't happen because they were just out to... Because, see, they see some of you guys on YouTube. They see your success. They see the way you've marketed yourself and your branding, and they see you did a good job at it, and they're like, oh, we can take this. We can get these guys, and if they don't play ball the way we want, then we'll just walk away with everything, and they'll be left with nothing. That's how these networks work. And that's how the world works. I mean, people steal from people all the time. And so every time this has happened, we just send them to the agent shuts it down. And so I've made the executive decision. We've made the executive decision that we're just not going to do. We'll never be on TV because, number one, all of the TV stuff you see is fake drama. It's not real. None of it's real. Number two, chances are most of these people, all these networks want to do is just screw you over anyway. Most of these people you see on TV, unless they're already famous and they've been in the business for a while and made a name for themselves to where they can negotiate a better deal, they've all been taken for a ride. If they've built up any marketing or branding, the networks are just trying to take it from them so they can control it and control every aspect of your life. I remember in that contract, I wasn't going to be able to post on Facebook. I wasn't going to be able to post on Twitter. I wasn't going to be able to post on my other YouTube channel without prior permission from the network. All that would go away because they would control it. And I wasn't going to have any of it. And so the deal was renegotiated. But I'm just telling you, this is the reason why you're never going to see us on TV, is because all these things are fake. They're either fake or they're trying to take things away from you guys who have made yourself a success or you've had any sort of success on your channel. They're just trying to take it from you or control it so that they can make the money. So, let that be a lesson to you guys. If you're a homestead, because I know there's a lot of homesteaders out there who have their own channel. And, some of you guys are getting popular. And I'm just warning you of the things that we encountered when we got popular. And we're not that popular. We're only like, 50,000 subscribers now, barely, if that. And, coming up on 50,000 subscribers. And there's channels out there that are way more popular than us. And I've heard some of the stories from some of these big guys. They've had the same things. They just turn them all down or they had lawyers, thankfully, who were on their side who saved them from the pitfalls that, you could have fallen into. But yeah, you're never going to see us on TV because of this guy. This guy who wrote The Delusion of Self-Reliant Off-Grid Living over at Forbes.com. He's basing his entire, premise of homesteading or his entire understanding of homesteading on what he sees at Homestead Rescue or Live Free or Die or whatever, Survivor, all those things, because they're all fake. It's just fake drama. Anyway, that's that. I got 5 minutes left before we head to the chat room. Real quick, another video that I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. It was this, we talked about this earlier when our friends were here. There's a homestead in Sweden, and the Swedish government is considering kicking them off their land. So there's a company wanting to come in, and they have the country of Sweden owns the mineral rights. I don't think people in Sweden own the mineral rights for their own land. So mineral rights, and they want to search for metals and minerals on their land that helps make batteries, and supposedly these minerals are high on the Swedish Homestead. Some of you guys are subscribed to this channel. It's a kind of a popular channel, growing channel, and it's called the Swedish Homestead. And they've been notified by the government that a license is being applied for by a company that will cause them stress or make them forced to move if they drill for these minerals. It's basically eminent domain by government. Now, they have different rules over in that country. But again, I mean, this could happen anywhere.
It's horrible. And
so people are mobilizing to try to raise awareness and, change the mind of the government to let them know this shouldn't happen, and try to shine the largest spotlight they can on the situation. But folks, this can happen to anybody. And we've had other articles and news items like this on our podcast before. We talk about these things. And, if someone commented on our videos this week, they were like, "You're too negative. You guys, you should stop with the negativity. The world isn't a giant green M&M. It's just not." And sometimes bad things happen. And, try disconnecting the negative terminal on your car battery and see how far down the road you get. Because with the positive, sometimes comes negative. And you have to talk about it. These things are really happening today. You can lose your land if the government decides to come in and take it. So he's asking, here's the point of me talking about this. He's asking to check out the video, which I posted, again, link in the description below. Go over there, leave a comment. And if he's asked, subscribe to his channel. And if he asks for help, if he asks for you guys to send an email, understand that this guy, he's got a family. He has 9 adults and I think 7 children who live on that homestead. Because there's a couple families. His whole family, there's an extended family lives on that land. Yeah. And they're trying to perhaps, ask for help from the audience to help save that land. Because it's public pressure a lot of times that change these things around. And one day, you never know. It may be you or I who need this assistance from the audience. So keep that in mind. Check them out. It's the Swedish Homestead. You can check them out. The link's in the description below. The title of the video is called "Unbelievable Government Threat Forced to Leave Our Homestead?" ? Check that out. All right, we got a little bit of time. Excuse me, we're a little bit early, but let's go ahead and head over to the chat room and get in over there and see what there is to see. Folks, if you want to leave a comment below, please post it in all caps in the chat room so that I see it. And if I don't see it, keep repeating it. Until you're, convinced at a time that maybe I'm just ignoring you. Let me pop out the chat box here real quick. Bring it over here so Jamie can see it too. Yeah, put it in all caps. Really appreciate it. Please hit that thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. We really like it when you do that. So thank you very much when you hit the thumbs up button. And, if you have a question, again, post it in all caps. We'll try to get it to. So it says, Zephos. Is it Zephos? Did you ever look into grow bags and air pruning? Yes, it looks very interesting. I will have to, we're going to, we'll work on maybe trying that next year. So, I will look at that. It was very interesting. I saw some videos. Got people recommended, but basically you just search for air grow bags or grow bags and air pruning. It came, all kinds of videos on YouTube came up. So very interesting. Lisa, how are the achicha cucumbers doing this year? Amazing. I'll try to do a video this week. The entire arbor is being covered. They're running on the ground too. They're just taking over everything in the garden. And I'm finding achicha seeds plants coming up in other places in the garden, so I'm going to have to maybe work on controlling this better. The seeds are getting out of bounds. But there's not a lot of fruit on it yet. And so a lot of people have been asking me, Zach, I planted the achichas, I bought the achicha seeds, but there's no fruit on it yet, and it's growing like crazy. When's the fruit going to come on? And it takes time. Sometimes you may have a lot of fruit come August, but it may be end of August or September before you get a lot of fruit. But trust me, it's coming. If you've put down good soil and you have a lot of growth in your achichas, trust me, you're going to have a lot of fruit. It just takes time. Sometimes they fruit at different times of the summer, and sometimes they fruit in the early fall, late summer. But when they fruit, they will come in hot and heavy. So get ready. Will you sell some of your sugarcane seeds? Yes, this year is looking really good. I have, if the quarter acre does really good, and it looks like it's doing good so far, we're going to have sugarcane seeds for sale. I told you guys, I think I mentioned in the video, we figured out what kind of variety. This is an original sugarcane. The guy at the distillery who wants to make rum with our cane, he told us, he said, listen, the original sugarcanes are seed bearing. They have basically bred the seed bearing out of the commercial cane because the non-seed bearing produces more sugar, and they want sugar, so they don't produce seed, because when the plant produces seed, it produces less sugar. So it makes sense if they can keep it from producing seed. These are not GMOs, okay? We're talking about hybrid, human hybrid ones that were not human hybrid, but ones that they have basically created on their own to produce no seed or very little seed, so that it produces the maximum amount of sugar content. Which makes sense because you want sugar, not seed. Let's see. Will you sell? So yes, we'll do that. What's in the solar kiln right now? I have a bunch of cedar beams. Going to be probably fireplace mantles. Not a bunch, but a few. I'm gonna put some more in there. I got some wood on the deck. I gotta go down there and cut it up. I gotta switch out one of my hydraulic pumps, or the hydraulic pump, because the hydraulic pump I had on there before works a lot better, and the logs that I have lined up are really big, and it's just not powerful enough to push them through. They're heavy in the middle, so I got to do that. It's probably this week. I got to do that this week, so it's on my list of things to do. But right now in the solar kiln, I have some really cool cedar fireplace mantles that are kiln dry. They're probably close to being done, but I'm not sure I'm going to get to them until fall, because I guess got other things to do right now. Let's see. Do you live in a national forest? Is living in a national forest good or bad? No, we do not live in a national forest. We live on the very edge of one. My nearest neighbor, his property backs up against national forest land. So I have one neighbor on one of my sides, and his land backs up to national forest land. So that's cool. I mean, we're very remote. There's not a lot of people living out here. I mean, it's one of the reasons I like it. So we're very close to national forest land. Zach, does fall appear to be coming early in the Ozarks? It's kind of that way, isn't it?
Feels like fall to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy weather.
Yeah, it's like global warming, let me tell you. I mean, you say that, but like Portland this week had like temperatures of like 106. Those people, that's just about justice, I guess. That's where all the greenies live, or is up there in Portland, right? But down here, it's. I'm just teasing. I shouldn't. People are gonna get angry.
Yeah.
People are gonna get angry. Let's see. Tell your son sign up for Steam-Pocalypse has started. Yes, I think he signed up tonight. Actually. I think he signed up tonight. That was what? Didn't he sign up?
No.
Oh no, it's not up yet. He checked.
Yeah, so maybe it's up now.
I don't know.
He can do it tomorrow.
He checked it tonight and he couldn't find the sign up. So either the sign up isn't up yet, or I don't know. I mean, Nancy, let me know. Is sign up? Because he looked for it tonight and he couldn't find it. So send me the link on Facebook or something, or send me a message on STEEMIT chat or something so I can find it. What do you think of the Jewish control over the media? Shut up. There's no Jewish control over the media. There's just the government control over the media. Have you noticed that tomato plants grown from previous years' seeds have less blight? Have you noticed that tomato plants grown from previous years? I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, the blight, I don't think I have a lot of... I've had blight before, but I haven't seen any signs of blight this year, really.
Is that when the bottom of the tomato gets black and kind of shrunk?
Yeah, there's different types of blight, but yeah, that's one.
I've seen some of that.
This year?
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
On some of the smaller ones.
Huh. Let's see. Jamie, how do you like canning in the outdoor kitchen?
It's great. I love it. I love being able to do it out there. The thing that I really love about it best is that I can do all of my prep as well as cleanup out there. Because what I used to do was do my prep inside and then take stuff out to be canned over the fire. And then canning over the fire means that you watch it the entire time. You can't do anything else. You can't just, like you do when you set your dial on the stove, you can do something else. So you have to be there to watch your fire. So my favorite thing is that I can do all my cleanup right there while I am watching my fire. So that makes the day a lot more doable.
Catherine says, some say we're going into a mini ice age. They've been saying that since like the 1970s. But, who cares? But yeah, you're right. I mean, they're saying that now, but they've been saying that forever. They don't know. They have no idea. It's weather. It changes. Meredith, Jamie, okay, I said that right. Do you swap trade materials with other homesteads? Sometimes we do. Sometimes, like we're trading right now, or we're buying raw milk from other homesteads in the area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we buy.
Yeah, so I mean, we do a lot of trade in bars sometimes. I mean, it just depends what it is. Are your property taxes low because you are considered agricultural? No, our property taxes are low because we live in the middle of nowhere. That's why our property taxes are low. Property taxes, very low. $161 this year for our property taxes. With 56 and a half acres, numerous outbuildings, 2 houses, $161. You could find that in the change of your couch over the course of a year.
No, we couldn't.
Well, we don't. We don't have a couch, but I mean, people who have couches could probably find that in the couch over the course of a year.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe in their car, right? That's like the change out of your car when you go through fast food joints.
I'm always really on top of collecting our change.
Have you thought of having a cooking YouTube channel so you can have ads and monetize?
What?
Right there. Have you thought of having a cooking YouTube channel so you can have ads and monetize? Because right now people are being demonetized for having, horrible YouTube, channels with guns and homesteads and animals that die.
So they're saying we got to have a cooking channel because that's...
Well, have you thought of having a cooking channel? Like, Christy Jordan does.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if you could do one with Christy Jordan, like some episodes with Christy Jordan.
I don't know. I mean, here's how it goes. Here, I'll just tell you how it goes. Okay, so Zach has the camera, and he is the camera guy as well as the front man for the videos. When he comes to me and says, hey, you need to do a video, or what can you do a video about, then I will do a video. But just... to think up videos and do them on my own, that's just not me. I'm not the front kind of person.
Nancy says she signed up tonight. Nancy, please get a hold of me. Send me a link. Go to the AmericanHomestead.com. Go to the contact page. Send me the link on STEEMIT where the sign up is. Joshua tried to find it and he couldn't find it. He said it wasn't up yet. I said, well, maybe they just didn't post it. So, he refreshed the page. He said he went to Papa Pepper's page and it wasn't there. So please send me a link if you could. I appreciate it. Is Northern California good for homesteading? I can't imagine Northern California being good for anything. I mean, it probably would be great for homesteading if they didn't have the laws that they have.
I think it definitely would. I've been in Northern California. I actually have a friend that lives there, and she and her husband were worked on his dad's dairy cattle ranch. There's a lot of ranch country up there. Her dad actually had beef cattle that he raised. He had a really beautiful...
But he said it was dairy cattle ranch.
No, her dad had beef cattle.
Oh, yeah.
Her husband's dad had dairy.
Okay.
Anyway, there's beautiful land up there. I mean, some really remote... beautiful land up there.
All ruined by a bunch of lawyers in the state capital.
Yeah, it's in California. I've talked to her in the past years, not recently, but even she, they're dealing with, and I can't say the specific issues. All I can say is that even in cattle, they're dealing with laws that are affecting their business.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Get out of California. If you're still there and within the sound of my voice, get out. Get out. There may be a time when they start putting fences up around that state so you can't leave because so many people are leaving it now. Seth would like to see more about homeschooling and child education.
I can do more about that. You know, Zach will have to let me do more about that.
Yeah, we can do more. That's fine.
I love talking about homeschooling.
I mean, like it when you guys tell me what you want to see.
Probably homeschooling is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Cooking, yeah, cooking is necessary, but what really gets me excited is homeschooling. I just think it's fun.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's fun. I love learning along with the kids.
Yep. So, we'll try to keep that in mind and maybe do some more coming up. Great. Really appreciate the feedback. Zach set up the camera and randomly one day to follow Jamie. Just follow Jamie all around one day, I guess, is what she's saying. Mama Hubbard says. So maybe we'll just...
Oh, they want to know what my day is like, I guess.
I could just follow Jamie around for a day. Jamie's day on the homestead. I could do that. That'd be fun. Jamie, do you have any videos on how to can? We have a lot of stuff like that on our season episodes, so...
Yeah, most of my canning is over the fire. But I've said before, like, you can find tons of canning recipes online. I generally will find a good recipe. Like, I really like simplycanning.com because she lays it out really simply. So I've used her recipes a lot. What I show online is more of how I do it with the fire, which you won't see anywhere else, or it's very unlikely that you'll see anywhere else.
Yeah. Anna Barber says, you guys are a great inspiration. My husband is retiring this year from the service. We are buying a homestead back east with goats and 14 dogs. 14 dogs?
Maybe it was a typo. Where?
It says, we are buying a homestead back east with goats and 14 dogs.
Oh, well.
I don't know. Maybe you're raising dogs for...
Maybe they like their dogs.
I guess. You have to like dogs to have 14 of them. I recommend sheep rather than goats. You know, if you want goats, that's great. But I like sheep. 14 dogs. Well, great, Anna. That's great. Congratulations. And, thank you, your husband for his service. I'm also a veteran, so appreciate you guys watching the show. And we're glad you guys are getting it going. Be sure to send pictures and keep us updated. We like hearing from other people. Let's see. Everyone. Let's see. Yes, we have a rescue. Oh, so Anna says they have a rescue. Oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, great. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, Nancy says she sent a message on Facebook with the link. I will check it out. Thank you, Nancy. Really appreciate it. I am going to check that out and make sure Joshua can get it. If you haven't checked it out, Papa Pepper on STEEMIT is running a Steam Apocalypse episodes. It's a season. We're getting ready to start season 6. It's kind of fun.
Okay. Yeah, it's not my thing, but yeah.
I mean, you're making a grimacing look like...
Well, it sounds boring to me. But
it's kind of funny. I mean, it's actually pretty entertaining.
Well, it's all I've heard about for a while.
And comedic, because our friends are also on it, and they're doing it, and I haven't done it. I don't have the time, guys. But I really enjoy Papa Pepper stuff. I mean, we may be seeing them tomorrow, their family.
Joshua, our oldest, is really, really looking forward to doing it.
He really wants to do this.
Oh, when canning, how do I keep my veggies from floating to the top? You are probably canning them raw. If you want that uniform look in your jar, now they are perfectly edible like they are, but if you want that uniform look in your jar, meaning that the vegetables are on the bottom as well as the top of the jar, then you're going to have to cook them first. So it depends what kind of veggie you're doing, but what you want to do is a hot pack versus raw pack. So Google hot pack for whatever veggie you are trying to can.
Awesome. Hey guys, great. Thanks for being here tonight. That's the end of the show. We got to get going. It's 10 o'clock. Hey, if you're interested, our sponsor, gasspouts.com, use our coupon code AAH20OFF, AAH20OFF for 20% off your purchase of a new gas spout. And they're not that expensive, so you're getting an extra 20% off. That's great. Check it out, gasspouts.com. We really appreciate them being a sponsor. and tell them that you heard about it from us. Hey guys, we'll be back next week. Lots of good stuff coming up. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on STEEMIT, Facebook, Twitter. We're on all the social media. Really appreciate you guys and love y'all. Thanks. See you next time on the Homestead.